All right. It's time to talk about off-page SEO. Now, there aren't that many topics to really go through. We're going to talk about link building, forums, links, influencer marketing. So, with link building, so you can do this by creating backlinks for the most part. So, I'm trying to think of an example. If I have a website that's reviewing, there's this guy on YouTube. He reviews flutes, right? The instruments, flutes. And, one way that he could link build would be to, he has an affiliate link through a program where you can rent flutes, and he promotes his link that he gets a specific percentage when someone actually buys one of the flutes that they've rented. He also promotes that that program that people can use to rent the flutes. He also links to the flute that he's reviewing in the video that's listed on that program. That's already 3 links. He can also link to other accessories for that specific flute, parts, repairs, courses, lessons, whatever it may be, and then linking to his other content as well. Now, you don't want it to look spammy. You don't want like a list of like 15 links or whatever just as a list, but you can, most platforms have a space for you to create, a description, and you can basically put those links in there when you're writing about, a couple paragraphs about whatever it is that your video is about. So he would probably say, in this video, I'm reviewing so-and-so flute. I'm using this program. and he can basically put the links in there. It's cleaner to use hyperlinks. So, if he's saying I'm using a Yamaha flute, and he can highlight the word Yamaha, right click, put a hyperlink, put it to Yamaha.com or a flute on Yamaha's website, or he can put it to the flute on the website where he's renting it from. So he has a few options there. He can put, that he is renting this flute for 3 days or whatever through this specific program. He can make a hyperlink with that name of the program's brand, and that brand, just having that brand and that link to that brand is going to drive a lot of traffic. So that would be to their main landing page. He could also talk about the model of the flute that he's renting and link that to the specific rental page as a hyperlink to the actual flute where you can rent it, and it tells you all the details about that specific flute. Now, maybe he has a course where he's teaching you how to play the flute. Maybe he has a website where you can download free sheet music, the sheet music that he's playing in the episode. Maybe he could link that. He could also send you to his main, page on his landing page, not just to the free content. You see what I mean? Like, you can add a whole bunch of links that way and not make it look spammy, and it's all valuable. Anyone who's interested in this flute or the program or free lessons or free sheet music or paying him for his services for teaching or paying for his, website or DVD subscription where they can learn to be as good as him, he's providing a lot of value, and he's talking in detail from a professional perspective about this specific flute. And you can hear the quality of it online, and you can see him playing it, and he can talk to you about, do these certain keys stick, or is it smooth, or does this sound flat, or is this is the positioning off, or does everything feel right? Is it easy to clean? Is there any kind of flaw or weird thing about it, or extra perk about it that somebody would be, that somebody would want to learn that they couldn't learn just from looking at a static website with just a picture and a description written? Some things you want to hear, you want to see. So that's an example of link building. Forum marketing, same guy. He could go on. Now, forums, the first thing I think when I think of forums really is Discord. Right now, that's probably my number one space, is getting connected with servers that have a lot of people on there that really care about the same thing. I'd say also some sites like Twitch, depending what your niche is, can be helpful as well. And there are other forums that, I've been more connected to like technology forums. I'd say that they're like, say if you have a problem with your computer, they're pretty, helpful. Or even going on, Reddit or Yahoo Questions. I don't even know. Do people even still post on Yahoo Questions? Those types of sites, though. Link bait. So, now this is a topic that I would say is very tricky nowadays, because a lot of social forums, a lot of social platforms, don't allow it. So you can't just tell somebody on Instagram, hey, I do this, check out my website, buy my course, paste it on their, paste it to them. You can't really just do that. Now on Pinterest, you can do that a little bit more smoothly. Reddit as well. YouTube, not so much anymore. Instagram, yes, you can. And I don't really use Facebook anymore. I don't use Facebook for anything other than advertising anymore, really, in the marketplace. So I don't really know for sure. But I'm gonna say it's probably not always the best place. Maybe. I don't know. I'm a little curious about, like, when we talked about forum marketing for a second there, going back one topic. I'm a little curious about, the Oculus and, these 3D universes. How deep are the communities rooted in those? because it seems like it's more of like there's more potential for there to be virtual chat rooms. But are there? That's what I'm trying to figure out. You know, I haven't really used it yet, so I don't really know, but are there? Because if they do have virtual chat rooms where people can just learn from one another and just kind of discuss certain topics, that would be pretty valuable. I just don't know if it exists. Link baiting is getting harder to get away with, and influencer marketing, I have people reaching out to me a lot, for, not a lot, but a little often, I'll put it that way. Every so often, I'll check my messages, especially through Instagram, and there are people who are requesting if I can be an ambassador to whatever it is that they're trying to sell. And so, for example, let's use this flute guy as the example. Say he created a flute, right? Maybe he has his own flute brand. I don't even think he does, but let's just pretend like he goes out on a limb and he's like, I'm going to make a flute. I'm going to have a flute designed and make my own brand of flute. I'm no longer reviewing all these other people's flutes. I'm now just going to talk about my own flute. And he gets a design and he makes a bunch of videos about it. You know, he could create his own program where people could rent the flute from him. I think the way the flute rental program works is you have a certain time frame by which you have to have it postmarked to be sent back. Like, they send it to you, you have a credit card on file, they send it to you for free, I believe, but they, you know, your card is kind of pending, and then if you get it postmarked, I think you're allowed to keep it for 3 whole business days or something like that. And then you send it back. Say if I'd have to send it back by, I don't know, in by the 3rd business day from now. Today is Monday, January 22nd. So if I got it today, Tuesday the 23rd, Wednesday the 24th, I'd have to send it back by, you know, before 5 p.m. Wednesday the 24th, or else they either charge me a late fee or they might just charge me for the whole flute and I have to keep it. So he could do that, make his own program where people could rent the flute from him. He could offer it to them and say, hey, if you sign up, you can, you know, if you become an ambassador, meaning that I will send you this for free, pending you send it back and put a card on file. Once I get my, you know, flute back, I release your deposit back to you. But in exchange, can you please review my flute? Because you're a flautist, I don't know, and you're a professional. And he could reach out to like 20, 30, 40, I don't know how many professional flute players there are on YouTube or wherever. He could reach out to all these people with his brand and have them, you know, as ambassadors of his flute. Try it out, test it out, review my stuff, post a bunch of links all over the place. Or he could even write the description of what he wants them to put in their YouTube description box and have people put it there. And they don't even have to buy it. All they have to do is hold the deposit, right? So I don't know. I mean, that sounds like a good idea to me. But, I mean, of course, it's a lot of work. He'd have to find all these people. But, I mean, it's not hard to find people online who do stuff. It probably wouldn't be hard to find people who would want to try out a flute of a brand of somebody who's been online. And if they're already watching his content, they like his content, or maybe some of his maybe he has fans on YouTube, maybe he has followers on YouTube, and they just fanboy over his content. They'd probably buy his flute, with or without a review. And so that's an example of influencer marketing. If you have like an actual product, or you can give free samples in exchange for reviews. I mean, these are just some of the methods you could use, and this is considered off-page SEO. So this isn't going directly on your website per se, but you're doing it outside of your website, Another version of link building is, say if you have a landing page. So say if I'm this flute guy who has my main page, where you can just go and buy my subscription to my digital video lessons of learning how to play the flute for beginners or whatever. Beginners, intermediate, advanced, professional. And if I have a blog, if I have a podcast, if I'm, going live on Twitch or Kick or whatever, if I have a Discord channel server, if I have all these other, platforms that I'm on, Instagram, TikTok, Twitter, X, whatever you want to call it, Facebook, Meta, whatever you want to call it, you can link back to your own content as well. It doesn't have to be someone else's. So I guess I should clarify that. It doesn't have to be someone else's content. It helps to do all of it, in all honesty. There is such a thing as too much, especially if you're posting actual URLs instead of making a word into a hyperlink. But those are some of the easiest methods to just try. Again, this is one of those concepts where you'll see the results when you implement. When you implement what you need to do, that's when you see the results. The times when you don't see the results is when we get too scared to post, when we get too anxious to post, when we get unfocused and can't strategize, we won't see the results. And so sometimes it does take, taking a few days off, taking a step back, taking a breather, getting some more inspiration. But it does help to have a plan of where you're going and, create a list and some serious topics that you can kind of work with. That does actually help a lot. So, that's kind of all I've got to really say for now. And, hopefully this is helpful for your journey. Hopefully it's interesting. I don't know if I want to get into creating whiteboard videos. That to me feels a little like too much. I'm really hesitant to get outside of podcasting and start creating content in other ways, in a way that will kind of take my attention away from podcast episodes. But I'm also willing to try it. So I might try it. I might try it a little bit and, see what you guys think. Now, I'm not sure. I'm just saying I might. It just feels like it feels to me like it's a bit much. It's not really my thing. Like, I really have to be in the mood to do it. But I also really like to write, and I feel like for me, a lot of times writing is a little bit of an easier way to, create content sometimes. But I'll see. I'll make a couple drafts and see how I feel about it. And we'll see if we can go from there. All right, guys. That's it for now.